Hi everyone. Thank you so much for getting me to 25,000. Today I just wanted to do this stream as kind of an update on what my channel's done over the past 2 years of growing. Since November 2019 actually was when I first started to work on this channel and work on content. So yeah, thank you for all the congratulations for everyone who's chatted with me and been with me on this journey. And I also really wanted to have an open stream where you can feel free to ask me any question about coding, life, anything else that you're wondering about. And I also took a couple questions from Twitter and from Discord and email. So I'm going to go ahead and answer those while I'm waiting. And then also, I think at the end, but I have a couple things I want to talk about and an announcement about something big that I've been working on that's been taking up, a lot of my content time, especially over these last few weeks. So, hey, Emery, Code with Tommy, Ahmed, and Thomas. If anyone else is here, go ahead and say hi in the chat. So I did get a question from Jimmy on Twitter, and he's basically asking, he says, what's your advice to people learning at a basic level of web development up to the professional level? Same question for the programming field. So this is possibly the broadest question you could possibly ask. He's basically asking for advice how to get started in programming and then how to progress and everything. So I can't really answer questions like that on this stream. I do have, of course I have a book that I wrote with like 26 chapters of all this content in it. Not only that, I have some blog articles on Free Code Camp that talk about my journey into programming. If you look at the Free Code Camp news site, freecodecamp.org and then /news. You can either go to my author page or you can search for advice getting into programming. I have a couple articles there, and a lot of other people have also posted about their journeys and also looking back about what advice they would have for people getting into programming. So I think that's the best place to start, I guess. Hi, Sarav. Hi, Simieth from Costa Rica. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Hi, Alejandro. How are you? All right. So I did get a question in the chat. Oh, I got 2 questions. Oh, from Merab. So let me go ahead and put this up on the screen. There we go. So he's asking, can you introduce some books that explain Python concepts deeply and with a good? I am familiar with basic Python programming and want to be better at it. Yeah, so one place I really recommend for Python books that's been super helpful to me is No Starch Press. They're a publisher that kind of focus on Python and security and topics like that, but they have great basic and intermediate Python books. I'm going to go ahead and put their name in the chat. But I always recommend them, and I have probably their whole collection of books almost. So, oh hey Thomas from Serbia. I went to Serbia. I had a really good time there in Belgrade. Yeah, and actually with the Python books, I'm writing a blog article on an article on my blog about just different book recommendations, since I read a lot and I really like books. So I wanted to kind of compile all my lists of books since people ask about them. So I have one coming up about the Python books that I recommend. Oh, thanks, Sarav. He likes my hairstyle. Thank you. Yeah, my hairdresser is pretty creative. What to do with thick and curly hair. I like it much better. I think this is my favorite style that I've had. If you follow me, I had a lot of styles trying to figure out, how to get my hair and keep it easy. I really like to have no time in the morning before I start coding, before I get to work. Well, that's not true. So I go running sometimes in the morning now. But I just don't like a lot of getting ready time in the morning. So yeah, this is pretty easy to handle. Let's see. So that was about Python books. Oh, I see. He just posted the question twice. When I write your code in my VS, so I assume you mean your code editor, your VS Code, it does not work. Okay, Strong Life, what code are you talking about? I'm not sure which code isn't working or what tutorial you're following. I would have to see if you're using the same, I guess, versions of whatever libraries that I'm using. Eduardo Torres, should I buy the MacBook Pro with the M1 Max for data science? I don't know. You'd have to ask a data science about it. So the MacBook Pro, are they being made with M1? Because I just bought one and they said they're not making them with M1 yet. I think it's next year or later. And I really needed one. I just needed a computer. And I thought that was the best option for me. So I bought one, with 64 gigs of RAM. I tried to max out everything, but they still had the Intel chip. So yeah, I don't know. If you want the best MacBook Pros, I think you're going to have to wait for the M1 chip. So if you need it now, then I guess you should go with Intel. But I don't know actually how much better the M1 chip is, because I thought it was pretty much on par with Intel as far as performance right now, or I guess they're working on optimizations for that. But oh hey Babby Diaz, how are you? So if you don't know, this is the girl who helps me with social media and organizing everything and helping me know when to respond, when to post, all that stuff. So she's been really great. She said, have you already tried Aruga? Not yet. I said I would try that, but not yet. I'm going to make another note of that, so make sure to remember. But yeah, I literally have a list that's a couple hundred items long, and I keep trying to move and rearrange things, like which things should I stream, which tutorials should I make, and I'm working on a couple longer tutorials and courses right now, so it's hard to get to everything on the list. But next year I'm really hoping I can have more time in my schedule for content, at least do more 50-50 or something. Surav, you follow me on Instagram. Cool, thank you. All right. Yeah, Instagram, I guess I don't have a lot of followers there, but it's a kind of a more fun personal platform. So if you want to see more pictures of I guess what I'm reading, what I'm doing, what I'm working on, then follow me on Instagram. So let's see. Anand, why do people coders use VSC instead of standard IDEs? VS Code is, I don't want to say every single person, because everyone has their preference. VS Code is just really robust and easy to use and obviously free. There's just so many tools for so many different languages. All the different languages that I've used in VS Code, which is probably about 5 languages now, they've all had, excellent tooling and debugging. I can find plugins for really good auto-completion, syntax highlighting. There were some bugs in VS Code that I noticed, or some issues I had with it at first, but at the last year or so, I really haven't had any problems with VS Code. And, I also have the PyCharm Pro license, which I have on my work computer. But yeah, VS Code doesn't have quite all the features of one of those pro editors, but it's just so good. And there are so many plugins because it's open source and, the community contributes plugins. So it's really hard to beat that. I think JetBrains has some better, focus editors if you get the premium. But VS Code is, it's an awesome editor. And I used Atom, and there were a couple other editors I used before that. And VS Code crashes way less, or I've had way less issues with it than other things. I'm not sure what you mean by this, Lawrence. How to survive in the IT field. I mean, are you talking about burnout, business practices? I'm not sure what you're talking about there. You'll have to expand on that. Are you thinking of cover a full course about Vue or other things? Thanks, Emery. So Vue, so I'm doing some full-length Vue tutorials that are going to come on my channel, and I'm trying to figure out new ways of teaching concepts that are, better, more broken down. I'm trying to get better at teaching and explaining things. So Vue is definitely coming on my channel. As far as making, like a paid course on Vue, I don't think I'm going to do that. I can't say for sure, but it's just that the Vue.js core team puts out so many awesome, like really, really awesome courses. If you look at, Sarah Drasner, Evan Yu, and there are just so many of them that have courses on Vue. And then there's also Vue School and Vue Mastery. And I have pretty good things to say about both of those platforms, just because I kind of checked them out. I haven't seen all their courses, but they seem really well done. So I just don't know if I could add anything, that's better than what they can do. So yeah, I'm focusing on a couple other things with courses and stuff, but I still want to make Vue content on my channel. Getting started, how do I pronounce it? Duipayan? Getting started with Node.js, should I learn JavaScript first? You should learn, I guess, JavaScript syntax, but you can learn that while you're learning Node. I don't know if Node School is still around, or Learn You Node. That used to be a thing, but you can learn, because it's just JavaScript that runs outside of the browser. So you're writing exactly the same JavaScript, whether you learn JavaScript in the browser or JavaScript outside of the browser with something like Node. So you don't have to learn anything before you start learning Node. You can get right into just running things from a terminal and building servers and stuff. You don't have to learn front-end JavaScript first. Yeah. AK says, I need to return my MacBook Pro because the M1 is now available. I don't know. I'll look at it. It's such a pain to get my computer set up. And I think I got this when did I get it? Like a month and a half ago. And I finally, just now, have everything installed and set up. It took forever, so I really don't want to go through that again. And this computer is so fast. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. I mean, when I'm rendering videos, maybe it would be a little faster. I don't know. But it did cut it down, because on my old computer, it used to take 16 hours to render some of the longer videos, like 3 or 4 hour videos, maybe longer than 16 hours. And this one, it takes like an hour or something. It's super fast. So I'm not unhappy with anything about this computer. Merab says, let's see. I'm trying to learn Django. I don't want to be a front-end developer, but I have to learn a front-end framework for likely personal projects. Which framework do you recommend? You already know what I'm going to say. I like Vue.js, just using the options API. It's so simple to get started with, and you can just drop it in with a CDN, or you can use the Vue CLI, which is super easy. So I would highly recommend Vue, because in my opinion, there's less of a learning curve. And from teaching, I taught React at a coding school this year. I was there doing their React for like 7 months, I think, earlier this year. And then I also, I've taught both React and Vue, and I used Angular and some other frameworks before, but I would say Vue is the easiest one. I'm not going to go into the debate on what's the best, but if you're just looking to learn it to work on some personal projects, I definitely recommend that. And then you can write just plain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and use a couple of Vue's features, just throw them in where you need them. All right. So Mohammed says, I look like the character Andy, Charlize Theron from the old movie The Guard. The hairstyle is exactly the same. Cool, I'll have to check it out. Maybe that's where my hairdresser got it from. All right, Bobby has another question from Twitter. Hey, Mike. When learning a new code base, should I play with features then search for the corresponding code? Or should I look at the code for all components, then go through the user interface? Yeah, that's not an easy thing to say. So just from consulting and from working in different code bases over the years, and also talking to people about this topic, there's a couple things that I think work well when you're getting into a new code base. And I actually got this advice from someone at the coding school I used to work at. And that is when you're diving into a new code base, to try to document it or write documentation for it, because that helps you to really learn it. So I'll go feature by feature in the code, and I'll start, like, let's say auth, because auth is sometimes the first screen that you come to. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to understand, where are these endpoints, what are they doing, what libraries is it using, or, where are the components for this, and try to understand that. And I feel like as I go along from feature to feature, I naturally run into different libraries, and then I have to go look up that library. And sometimes I'll try it out in a small way in some other project and learn about it a little bit. It depends on, how long I'm going to be working in that code base. So I think, in my opinion, feature by feature is the easiest. I don't think there's look at the code first and then at the screen. If there's tests, it's awesome, because the test tells me exactly what the code's supposed to do. Unfortunately, most code bases do not have tests. For whatever reason, they don't have tests. And if there's no test, then I guess I'll usually start either in the API docs. Hopefully there's API docs like Swagger or something, and then I can look through all the endpoints, and then I go find, if I'm on the back end, then I go find the code or whatever is associated in handling that request. And then on the front end, it's the same way. So I'll look at all the features of the app, and then I'll go, feature by feature, and then try to find the code associated with that feature. Yeah, so that was a lot of words. Hopefully that was helpful. What is better, React or Vue for a big SaaS application? They both work. There are big companies. Some of the biggest companies in the world use React. Some of the biggest companies in the world use Vue. So I don't think there's one way or the other. You have to look at a more robust viewpoint. Like, what other tools do you want to use? What is the application going to be doing? And then you can decide, are there Vue or React libraries that do this thing that I want to do? So if you're, I don't know. I mean, every library will handle common things like forms and tables and all those things really well. So, and then also it depends on developer preference. Like, what does your team prefer? Are you using other things like TypeScript? They both work well with TypeScript now. With Vue 3. So yeah, it depends on so many different factors. So yeah, I would try both of them out and kind of compare them. Of course, my preference, but that's just my preference. But yeah, you could use either one. All right. What do you Sebastian says, what do you think about YouTube channels like Tiff and Tech that are a scam, and I never saw her doing code? I have no idea who that is. I watch a few YouTubers. I guess I don't go down that end of YouTube. Yeah, I mostly watch, there's a couple, Python YouTubers. Of course, there's the Free Code Camp channel that I like, and Traversy Media and some of the other popular YouTubers. Now that the new Boston's back, he has some cool blockchain content now. Let's see. Twitter question from John Juma. Do you offer software developer boot camps? No, I do not. A boot camp, that's a lot of, I guess there's a lot of administration and organization that goes into that. So I don't have the resources to do that. And I don't know if that's exactly what I want to do. Maybe in the future I will. I can't say. But yeah, after working at a couple coding schools and boot camps, it's a lot. It takes a lot to set one up. So I have actually been kicking around the idea, like I made a whole planning document for it. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to come into fruition. We'll see. All right, another Twitter question. Could you recommend some blockchain developers? Actual developers like to work on a project with you? I cannot. I can't think of any that are open off the top of my head. If you want blockchain content, I really like Eat the Blocks. The guy seems really cool. He's good at explaining things, and I've enjoyed watching his videos. So yeah, I recommend his channel. Oh, hey Jared. How are you? If you know everything there is to know about JS, then there's a week of extra Node specific to learn. Oh, this was in response to the question we had before about Node.js. So yeah, it's whether you learn front or back end doesn't matter, because you can easily transition to the other. If you learn one, then you can go to the other. It's all the same, JavaScript and syntax. You'll have additional APIs from the browser or from Node, and some things you can't do in Node. Obviously, you can't interact with the browser, and vice versa. There's things you can't do on the front end that you can do in Node. Subhadip says, are you a part-time YouTuber or full-time? Part-time. I do have a full-time job and other obligations, but I really, really like teaching a lot. That's why I've worked at coding schools and done YouTube, but I hope to be spending more hours doing this. I want to do half-time. So if I could do half-time next year or so, then I would be really happy. Maybe full-time someday. We'll see. So Asad Beck says, what about building an app that can handle millions of users, database replication, caching with Python? That's a lot to discuss. I guess you mean, how would you handle the architecture for it? Yeah, I don't think I can answer that question off the cuff in a stream right now. If you want to join my Discord, that would be an interesting discussion, like what best ways to architect the application. I bought a couple architecture books recently that I'm going through, so I might post those at some point. If you join my Discord, there's a room for books, and I try to keep it updated as I'm reading, different books. I've been reading books about security and architecture and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe we can have that discussion later. Eduardo. Hey, any suggestions on how to learn Django in a comprehensive way? One thing that helped me, so when I started the company that I'm at right now, it's been almost 2 years since I first started. And they worked in Django, and I had never worked in Django before, so I had to learn it. And yeah, how I learned, so on the Django And I think I have an article about this on my blog. Maybe I'll share it in my Discord later if I do. Anyway, so on the Django website, on their documentation, they have a tutorial, and that tutorial takes you through, it's like a 7-step tutorial. It takes you through all the different basic elements of Django, so you can understand that. I highly recommend that tutorial. It's really, really good. And that's what I went through at first to understand it. And then I think there was another tutorial I did about the Django REST framework, which is kind of a module you use with Django, that gives you some functionality like serializing and some other stuff that makes it easy to use the REST API or build REST APIs. So I recommend those tutorials. As far as books on Django, I don't think I've found a good book on Django that I can recommend. YouTube channels. Free Code Camp actually posted a 7-hour tutorial on Django recently. I can't remember the name of the teacher, but he's pretty good. So you might want to check out that if you want a video. Yeah. So I think that's all I have to say about that right now. Okay. Bobby Diaz says, again, I'm saying her name like I don't know who she is, but yeah. Do you recommend Node or Django for front-enders wading into back-end? That depends. If you're on front-end, Node is obviously going to be easier. If you really want to learn Python, which is a very fun language, then yeah, Django is great. Also, Django is a framework for Python. Node, you'll probably be using a framework like Express, or which isn't really comparable to Django because it's more like a micro framework. But yeah, it depends, what your goals are. Are you trying to work at a company that does a certain thing? Are you trying to build a certain thing? Django is awesome because it gives you so many features out of the box. But I actually didn't like it when I first started because I was so into like building every little piece of the application. I used Express or Flask or other things like that if I could. And I guess like 2 years ago when I discovered Django again, I was like, oh, this is awesome. This does all this for me. I don't have to keep setting this up every single project. It's so much easier to set up authentication. It gives you the admin interface. There's just so many nice things, especially if you're consulting or building lots of small and medium projects. Yeah, Django is really, really helpful. I don't know, I haven't found anything comparable in the JavaScript world, like to use with Node.js as far as a Django alternative. Although Strappy and there's a few others that are really nice to make easy APIs, but I think you do that more visually and not in the code. But I do have a tutorial on Traversy Media's channel about Strappy if you're interested in seeing that. That's written in JavaScript. Yes, Jared says Options API is a lifesaver. Options API is awesome, and I don't know if I would have gotten into Vue had the Options API not been there. But yeah, I do want to be using the new API that came out in Vue 3. Why can't I think of the name right now? Yeah, for some reason my brain just shut down. But yeah, I'm going to be doing some streams on that very soon. Oh, thank you. Shubham says, hey Faraday, Congo, you have come a long way. All the best for the future. Thank you. Are you from the Congo? Is that what you said, Congo? Or is that a typo? All right. Let's see. Shoka Solutions says, I want a simple thing from you. Please tell me which YouTube channels you learn or learned from previously. Please give me a link to those channels. That is a good question, or a good, I guess, request, and I will put that together, but not during the stream. So I'm just going to make a note of it. There, yeah. And I will definitely put that together if you join my Discord, I'll post it in there. So thanks for the suggestion. All right, so Farhan is saying, hey Gwen, I have a question right now about a common issue we all go through, imposter syndrome. Right now I'm working on it as a team lead. Congratulations. And I still feel like an imposter. Any suggestions on how to cope with it? I did make a video about this on my YouTube channel. I want to say it's like a year or so ago, about imposter syndrome. And I think one of the best things that I've found is just telling people, even at work, I think I'm very open about that, or when I'm working on projects. And I think just saying it, actually I told I guess he's my current boss because he's my engineering manager. We had this discussion because, he feels like an imposter and I feel like an imposter. And since we had that discussion, actually I felt a lot less like an imposter and a lot better because, everybody feels like that. So yeah, I think that's the thing that comes to the top of my mind right now that helps me, is just, talking about it with other people. So I don't think it's something that we have to hide. We all have those kind of insecurities and stuff. Yeah, and also check out my video because I might have said more things in that video, but I can't remember. So thanks, Farhan. All right. Strong Life says, are you working in a huge company or still making tutorials on YouTube? I'm working at a company and I'm doing tutorials on YouTube as I have time right now. Yeah. Okay. Sebastian. Oh yeah, I get this question all the time. Am I related to Michael Faraday? Yeah, the Faraday cage, Faraday constant, So basically, Michael Faraday, just once and for all, he had no offspring. So there's no way that I am a direct descendant of Michael Faraday. I mean, we must be related somewhere along the tree. Yeah, I tried to dig back to my ancestry. I think I got back to like the 1600s or something. And I didn't see a direct connection yet. I would have to go more horizontally and see that connection. But yeah, I don't know. There aren't many Faradays around the world, like in the US where I live or anything. But I think there are a lot still in England. So I probably just need to dig through some family trees there. But yeah, I don't know why I get asked that question all the time. I guess that's the first thing people think of when they hear my name. So someone, it's a bunch of numbers, asks, do you have courses on Udemy or your own platform? I don't have any courses out right now. So I am coming out with a course that will hopefully be out in January. But yeah, I don't have anything on Udemy or anything. Everything is just on YouTube, and I've cross-posted on 4 or 5 other channels. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks, Ahmed. I love you too. All right. Oh, Merev says he likes my keyboard sounds. No, my keyboard is... Can I pull the cord? Oh, oops. What did I just do? Oh, man. All right. 1 second. All right. So I tried to show my keyboard, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I have the Ergodox keyboard. All of a sudden, a weird screen popped up. I don't know if you guys saw that, but yeah, I have the Ergodox with I think it's the cherry brown. Yeah, these are the cherry brown key switches. So I had a key switch tester, and the speed copper key switches are amazing. So I'm going to be using those with my next keyboard. But I do, of all the key switches, I really, really like the brown or the cherry brown. Yeah. Hey Jared. So Jared's saying, what project have you worked on from the last year that you're most proud of? That is an interesting question. I don't know. I guess I have recency bias because I'm thinking about Kitty Clicker, which is my last stream series. And also because I have a special place in my heart for Cookie Clicker, which is, the in-browser clicking game. And I like cats. So I really had fun on that. What am I most proud of, though? Yeah, I might have to think about that one. Because I really like, a lot of the projects that I've made. I had a lot of fun with the video I made for Traversy Media, which was Strappy and, Vue and Strappy. And also, I think I know. So on Free Code Camp, I have a Git tutorial, which I think that came out really, really good. So I think that's the one I'm most proud of. It's like, I think it's Intro to Git and GitHub or something like that on Free Code Camp's YouTube channel. So thanks for the question. All right. Thanks, Strong Life. Someone asked, what's my take on Angular? Yeah, I don't really have a take. You'll have to ask someone who, is into the Angular scene right now. It's not my preference, but yeah, they've come out with so many new versions since I used it. So yeah, you'll have to ask someone else. I think the last version I used was like version 4 or something. So hey Richard Me, how are you? Good to see you. A crypto question. Timothy? Do you believe in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies as an alternative to traditional financial system? Yes, I absolutely do. You can watch, one of my last videos was a stream talking about, I don't know how much we got into actual crypto, but we talked about the larger blockchain ecosystem and a little bit about cryptos and stuff. So I'll hopefully, I invited Daniel to come back on for some things, so hopefully he'll join me again to talk about crypto, and we'll get more into that topic in future streams. Thanks, Alex. Thank you for that. What would you recommend for anyone wanting to work in big tech? That's kind of a loaded question. Not loaded, but like, I guess there's a lot of answers to that question. So you want to work in big tech? I guess I'd have to know where you were at. Maybe this is something, if you join Discord, we can talk about this. But I'd have to know where you're at in learning, or if you're already working or something. But one thing I've been thinking about lately is I actually signed up for what's that website? Algo Expert, which is just practice algorithms. And I've used some other things before, like I've used LeetCode, HackerRank, a bunch of different platforms like that. But everyone's been talking about Algo Expert for so long, so I signed up for it, and yeah, it's really good. I'd say the tutorials and walkthroughs and stuff are really well explained, and I just like to review those algorithms because I feel like if I'm not using them every so often, then I'll forget, how do you do a bubble sort and, whatever other things I need to do. So I really liked his platform. So I recommend Algo Expert. And yeah, just to practice, because they tend to ask you those kind of questions. Bigger companies all tend to ask you like questions like that. So get as much practice as you can solving coding challenges, whether it's on there or on HackerRank is really, really good. What was the other one? Oh, Code Wars. Actually, Code Wars is my favorite, just for like jumping in and practicing different things. The Algo Expert actually teaches you step by step through the different algorithms. So yeah, let's see. So I already answered a couple of that. Django or Flask. Yeah, my preference, like I said before, used to be Flask. Now it's Django. Maybe I got burned out from setting things up myself all the time, but there's so many nice features in Django. Thank you. Thanks for all the congratulations. And hopefully it will be another 2 great years with a lot more content. Do I have a CS degree? No, I do not have a CS degree, although I am in college getting my CS degree right now. And I have quite a few credits toward it. So hopefully one day I'll finish and have a CS degree. Just quick. There are a couple of reasons why I'm doing that, because I've been thinking for a long time, maybe I want to get into research someday. I already have credits. Why don't I just go ahead and finish? And another part is just me personally, like for self-gratification, knowing that I can finish college now, because I was way too distracted and all over the place when I first started college a long time ago. So there's a lot of different reasons why I'm doing that. But when did I start to learn to code? It was actually as a teenager. I was trying to build RPGs. Let me just put this question up. I was trying to build RPGs, and this is in the intro to my book, but I'll just give the TLDR here. I was building RPGs, and I really loved Earthbound and Golden Sun and those games. So I learned to code very minimally. And then, in college I had to do MATLAB and C++. I was horrible at C++ when I started. And then I think I got into Java. I took a lot of JavaScript classes, but only got to beginner to intermediate level. I never built any real projects for years. And then finally, the end of 2014, I'm I need to get my life together and actually push myself and code every single day and build actual projects. So I started with Swift in 2014, and then I got into JavaScript again in 2015. I was like, wow, this has really changed over the years, with all the frameworks and stuff, and having to learn React, but it was a lot of fun too. So you can read about this in my book, or I have some articles about how I got into coding on Free Code Camp as well. But I started, pushing myself, doing 3 hours every single day in 2015. And then I got my first job in 2015, and it's, been quite a fun ride since then. Hey Rex Gaming, how are you? Renee, hey Gwen, what's the best way to migrate from jQuery to Vue? Actually, Jared, who's in the chat, would probably answer this question a lot better than I can. They're both available via CDN, so you can just change piece by piece. You can change your application over piece by piece from jQuery to Vue. If you have specific questions about that, then you can hop in my Discord and post your code or something. Oh, hey, Madi. I'm new in programming. Would you recommend I start with Elixir and Phoenix? Good luck. I don't know that much about Elixir. I've been to a couple Elixir conference talks about functional programming and Elixir. I don't know if I would start there in programming, and I don't know how many easy resources are available in Elixir, but hey, there's good things in every programming language, so if you can learn programming through Elixir, it'll give you a very narrow viewpoint about coding. Of course, every language does that. If you learn JavaScript first or Python first, you learn how to interact with that kind of abstraction, and you can apply a lot of it to other languages, but there are some concepts when you leave the Elixir world, you're going to realize, the rest of the world's not as functional. But yeah, I'm sure Elixir and Phoenix are fine places to start if that's where you want to start. I don't know if I think I just said this, but I don't know how many beginner resources there are for Elixir though. Probably not as many as, Python or languages like that, obviously. Omar, I recently know you. Thank you for your Vue.js tutorials. Thank you. Is it good to create your front end with Vue and the back end with Django? That's what I do, so I think it's good. Yeah, why not? You can use any framework for the front end, any framework for the back end, but those are the two that I prefer. Although I'm starting to really prefer Fast API for the back end as well. And I'm actually creating something with Fast API, or a new tutorial is coming out with Fast API next month, soon. Farhan says 2 Scoops of Django is a good book. Thank you for the recommendation. I'll check it out too. Let me write it down before I forget. 2 Scoops of Django. All right. Just going to call you the number. So the number says when it comes to building APIs in Python, I think I've already answered this. I think, yeah, this is the same as another question. I really like Django REST framework. It's a really good way to build APIs. Let's see. Oh, hey, DevOps Directive. Happy Friday to you as well. He came on my channel. If you didn't see it, he came on my channel to talk about DevOps, and that was a live stream just a couple weeks ago if you want to check that out. So, yeah, and he has a lot of great videos on his channel about deployments and stuff. Igor says, what do you think about Vue.js? I've seen it. I haven't used it enough to, make any recommendations there. Hey Fazula, greetings to Uzbekistan. How are you? All right. Oh, Mark is asking about Fast API. I just mentioned this. Mark says, what are your summary thoughts on Fast API? I watched your videos, but couldn't really get an idea of what your general thoughts are. Do you have a general impression of Fast API? I really like it. I like, the type system. I like I'd have to make a list, I think. But I like the organization, the features, the types, the way that it handles requests and response and does a lot of things automatically, and just like extra nice features that I don't have to set up, like docs, API docs. It sets up 2 different kinds of API docs out of the box. There's a lot of good things about Fast API, and also the asynchronous nature of it by default, which is different than Django and Flask and stuff. So it's more of a modern framework. Marcin, your tutorials are great. Thank you. I wish you the best as well. Someone said I look like the girl in the girl with the dragon tattoo movie. Yeah, people have mentioned that to me before. So, hey Sandip, hey Mikhail, how are you? All right, getting to the end here. We have a couple more minutes before I have to get back to work. So Basil says, what is the future of web dev? That's a very large question to answer in a few minutes. What about WebAssembly? It's replaced Figma from desktop to browser. Oh, you mean Figma? So Figma, the kind of UI design application. So you're saying that Figma uses WebAssembly? So I'm not going to get into the future of all of web dev. Okay, so one thing that I think, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about this recently, is the no-code movement. So so basically what this movement is about in web dev and other types of programming is that you'll basically have an interface which writes the code for you under the hood. So some of these interfaces are like drag and drop or selection. They either write all the code for you or they help you with parts of your code, so there's less actual typing yourself. I think the best podcast about no code, let's see, I think there's one on Software Engineering Daily that's really good if you want to check that out. So I think that's a big part of the future. And then obviously things like the whatever that new auto code feature is in VS Code, the AI code helpers, those are really big. That's going to be so nice. Actually, a few days ago, I just got accepted into the beta for that, so I'm going to be trying it out soon. What about WebAssembly? Yeah, WebAssembly is exciting. It's not a complete replacement for everything, but it definitely gives us more options now. I don't know, what the future holds for that, but I think eventually there will be other native languages other than just JavaScript in browsers, which will be awesome. Yeah, of course you can do other languages with WebAssembly now, but not quite as easily as you can with JavaScript, which of course has been in the web for, 25 years or something. All right, Supercell, what's a book that you loved recently? And why is your background blurred? I kind of love that wall. Oh, that's not a real wall. That's just a random brick background. I wish I had that wall, but I don't. Maybe after I move. I'm going to be moving pretty soon, probably. What's a book there's so many good books. What's a book? Why can't I think of any books? Let's see. I do have some No Starch Press books. So let me think. I have been listening to a book about late bloomers. I can't remember the name of it, but it's actually really good. I've been off and on, listening to it over a few months now, going back and forth to it. But it's about how some people call it blooming early, like they're really successful early on, they do well in school, they go to the right college, they have good test scores, all of that stuff. And our society really, those are the people that get all the attention early on. But the book is about late bloomers and why there shouldn't be so much pressure to be successful early on, because the majority of people aren't and are still figuring things out. Even, some people all the way through their 20s, don't start to get it together until their 30s or 40s, or, we should put less pressure on kids early on to have it all figured out. Anyway, the book's really good. Maybe I'll post about it in my Discord. I think it's called Late Bloomers or something like that. But yeah, also, if you haven't listened to Kevin Mitnick's books on security, I think he does like the art of invisibility and some other books about hacking and that kind of world. So his books are really good. I found them really interesting. So this was not asked, but I have a podcast recommendation. If you like storytelling and hacking and computers and everything, my favorite podcast is Darknet Diaries. I've listened to all, I think, 103 episodes now. So, yeah. Jared says, don't I have a dragon tattoo? No, I have a yin-yang tattoo. It's not a dragon. But there is fire in it, so it could be from a dragon. Yeah. Someone said, ooh, Java. So, trying to skim through the questions because I only have a few more minutes. Any other questions that I don't get to, feel free to post them in my Discord. Lots of questions about WebAssembly, Vue.js. Oh, are part of core team at Vue.js? No, I am not. Sandit. Thank you, Chrissy. She says, thanks for all of your Vue tutorials. Love them. Awesome. I really like making them. Do you think get hands-on with functional languages soon? Do you think I will? No. I like Haskell. I like the ideas of some other languages, but I just don't have the time right now to work on those. I'm hoping next year I can put some of that content out. I have a few ideas, but who knows if I'll actually get to them. Yeah. Oh, Timothy says, stream about DevOps was amazing. Awesome. Yeah, the DevOps directive, he's really good, obviously, at talking about DevOps. So it was kind of a fluid stream with a lot of interesting information. I learned a couple things too, so that I looked into or tried out after. Let's see. Yeah, let me try to get one more good question. There's some really broad questions like what is web dev that, I don't think I can answer in this stream. So, Jared says, future of the web, always bet on JavaScript. Yeah, everyone talks about the end of JavaScript, but it's so ubiquitous. So it's used in everything for almost everything now. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. Oh, Supercell says, I love Darknet Diaries. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so this user without a name says, hey Gwen, what piece of advice would you give for a first year CS student to succeed in this major? First year CS student. Yeah, so looking back at, I've been to college 3 times now. This is my 3rd time, and I'm going to finish this time. So for a first year CS student, one thing, and this was especially when I first started college, which was quite a while ago. One thing that I noticed in college was like, I didn't really learn what it was to be a professional programmer through college. I learned foundational concepts. There were a lot of good things about algorithms and data structures and that kind of thing, but I didn't learn actual practical applications or Git or any of that stuff. So I wish that I had learned that going into college, because one of the things that I really struggled with in college was not having any vision for what I was going to do at the end. Like I couldn't see myself as a programmer. I didn't know how to be a programmer, all that stuff. So I think it's important, whether you go to college or self-learn or whatever, to be building actual, real world projects. So a lot of colleges are more attuned to that now and teaching more real world skills. But colleges still, because of the cost of curriculum development and other setbacks, they're not fully up to date with their curriculum all the time. So that's something you're going to have to do on your own. Other than that, one thing that's really, really important in when you're learning to code, whatever pathway you're going to, is starting to network with people. So if it's your first year, that's a great time to start, because you can start, going to meetups in your area about, different kinds of coding meetups. You can start working on projects, giving talks. You can start getting yourself out there, kind of branding yourself. You can start writing blog posts, all of those things. If you do that little by little, by the time you graduate, you're going to be very visible and you're going to put yourself in a really good position to have a lot of job offers at the end. Yeah. Let's see. Vue and React. Yeah, if you're asking about Vue versus React, I'm not going to say which one's better, but you already know that I prefer Vue. So I'm not going to talk more about that because I talk about that in every stream. Let's see. Oh, Friends Forever says, where do I currently work? I work for a consulting company called Rocket Build. It's actually located near where I live in Indianapolis, but it's a remote company, so some of the people, I guess, don't live here. But yeah, it's a really great company to work for. We are hiring right now. If you want to, you should go to our LinkedIn, Rocket Build, and you should see a post. Or you can look us up online. And yeah, come work with me. I don't know if we have any junior positions, maybe in the near future though, but we are hiring mid or senior level developers, definitely. But if you think you're pretty good at Python and or JavaScript, then yeah, come apply. Or if you're interested in learning them and you're already in another language, that's good too. Let's see. How to get stronger with logic. This is actually a really important topic, and there is a good book I can't remember the name of, from No Starch Press, that talks about this. So I highly recommend that book that I can't remember. Yeah, let me post about that in my Discord after this stream. So another thing is there are certain types of math that focus on logic. So discrete mathematics, that's what I'm taking right now. But it's really interesting. It really focuses on logic and helps you practice with logic. So I think, yeah, I recommend discrete mathematics. If you can find a course, I don't know if Khan Academy or something has a course. There's a good book that I got off of Amazon on discrete mathematics. And then also that No Starch Press book that I'm going to find. Something about logic or logical thinking, or maybe it was How to Think Like a Programmer. There's 2 similar books that they have. It was something like that. So yeah, I'll post about it after. Thanks for the question. Let's see. All right, I really have to go, but let me do one more. So Dr. Baz says, hey Gwen, you can't become a pro programmer on your own. You need to mix with mentors. Not really a question, but yes, I completely agree. In fact, I've been really fortunate to have a lot of good mentors over the years. And I kind of tried to strategically place myself at companies that also had good mentorship programs so that I could learn things like how to properly test and architect code and, do all those other things. So yeah, good mentors are absolutely important, which is why it's great to start going to meetups, because a lot of times senior developers kind of collect at certain meetups, and they're available for questions, and usually they want to help if you have something specific or you need advice or something. So I would definitely try to go to meetups, try to ask them out to coffee, get as much advice as you can. And when you look for jobs, especially when you're starting out, try to look for companies that have those good mentorship opportunities and stuff. Yeah, because that makes a world of difference. Okay, so, NN says, where's the link for the Discord server? So it should be in the description, but I will post it here too. Let me just grab the link from Discord real quick. Copy, paste. All right, that's the link for Discord. So you can join all the different chats there. And Ironman says, where am I from? I'm from the US. I'm actually from the Boston area, and I live in the Midwest now. So yeah. So thanks so much for joining me on this stream. Real quick before I go, I do have kind of a teaser announcement. I am working on my first full length course, which is a Python course. And I think from teaching at a coding school, or a few, and mentoring people throughout the years, I have some ideas about how to teach, how to make a course that I want to implement. And also I partnered with another teacher, another instructor with a lot of experience to make this course. So I think it's going to be really innovative and different, and a great Python course. If you're learning Python right now, then I'm sorry it won't be out for a few months, but yeah, that's what I'm working on. My book is on Amazon. It should be in the description. I can post that after. So I'm sorry, I don't have time to answer any more questions right now, but if you post them in my Discord, then I will look at those later after I do a few more hours of work. So thanks so much for joining, everybody. Thanks for all your support and help and questions and everything, and good luck on your coding journeys. And I will about the fan. Okay, I can't answer any more questions. Yeah, I will see all of you guys in a stream next week. So have a great weekend, everybody.